When I was a child in the 1960s, I never imagined I would one day hold the world in my hand. A small device that connects me to anyone, anywhere, and carries more information than all the encyclopedias I grew up with combined. Sometimes I wonder, have we gained more than we've lost? The pace of change in our lifetimes has been breathtaking. We've witnessed the greatest technological revolution in human history. From rotary phones to smartphones, from typewriters to computers, from letters that took weeks to messages that arrive instantly. Those of us who have lived through these 6 decades have a unique perspective. We've seen the world transform before our eyes. Today, I want to share some reflections on how technology has changed our lives for better and sometimes for worse. Stay with me until the end, because I'll share the one technology habit that has helped me stay connected without feeling overwhelmed. It might be exactly what you need to hear if you sometimes feel left behind in this digital age. Now, let's begin with the first major change. Change one, from community spaces to digital places. When I was growing up, community happened in person. If you wanted to see someone, you walked next door or picked up the phone and made plans. We gathered around dinner tables, on front porches, or at local parks. Information traveled slowly through conversations and shared experiences. Think about Martha, 78, who grew up in a small town where everyone knew each other. We used to sit on the porch in the evenings, she told me. Neighbors would walk by and stop to chat. That's how we stayed connected. Her daily rhythm included face-to-face interactions that built relationships over time. Compare that to today, where we can have hundreds of friends we've never met in person. Our communities often exist in digital spaces, Facebook groups, video calls, text messages. We can talk to grandchildren across the country instantly, but we might not know the names of the people living next door. Technology has expanded our reach, but sometimes shrunk our immediate world. The convenience is remarkable, but there's something missing in these digital connections: the warmth of a physical presence, the comfort of a hand on your shoulder, the shared experience of simply being together in silence. Yet for many of us who can't travel like we used to, these digital connections have become lifelines. They've allowed us to maintain relationships that distance would have otherwise severed. I've watched my friend William, 82, who can no longer drive, light up during video calls with his grandchildren in California. For him, technology has been a gift, opening doors that physical limitations would have closed. Change two, from patient waiting to instant gratification. Remember when we had to wait for things? When a letter took days to arrive? When we had to wait until 7 p.m. for a long-distance call because rates were lower? When we saved up for weeks to buy an album with our favorite songs? There was a certain rhythm to life then, a patience built into our daily experiences. If you wanted to know something, you went to the library or asked someone knowledgeable. If you wanted to watch a specific show, you planned your evening around when it aired. Now, almost everything is available instantly. Any question can be answered in seconds. Any song can be played with a simple request. Any movie can be watched whenever we feel like it. No more waiting, no more planning ahead. Robert, 75, told me how this change affected him. I used to spend hours in record stores carefully choosing which album to spend my money on, he said. Each purchase felt special. Now my grandkids stream thousands of songs without a second thought. They have everything, but I wonder if they appreciate any of it the way we did. This convenience has certainly made life easier in many ways. It's wonderful to look up a recipe without searching through cookbooks or to find directions without unfolding a map. But I sometimes wonder if we've lost something valuable in the exchange. The anticipation, the savoring, the special feeling that comes from waiting for something worthwhile. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 2 below to let me know you're here. And if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Now, let's move forward. Change 3, from fixed schedules to always available. One of the biggest changes technology has brought is the blurring of boundaries between different parts of our lives. When I started working in the 1970s, work happened at work. When you left the office, your time was your own until the next morning. Stores had opening and closing times. Banks were only open during business hours. Television programs aired at specific times, and if you missed them, you simply missed them. There was a structure to our days, clear beginnings and endings to different activities. Consider Helen, 73, who worked as a secretary for 40 years. When I left the office at 5 p.m., that was it until the next day, she explained. Now my daughter is always checking her work emails, even during family dinners. She never fully disconnects. Today, we live in an always-on world. Stores online never close. Work emails arrive at all hours. We can watch our favorite shows anytime, day or night. The structure that once shaped our days has melted away, replaced by constant availability and endless choices. This flexibility has brought freedom. We can grocery shop at midnight if we want to, or watch a movie at 5 a.m. if we can't sleep. But it's also brought us certain restlessness, a feeling that we should always be doing something, checking something, responding to something. For those of us who grew up with clearer boundaries, this constant availability can feel exhausting. We weren't designed to be on all the time. Our bodies and minds need rhythm, periods of engagement followed by periods of rest. Technology has made it harder to find that balance, to truly disconnect and simply be present. Change 4, from private lives to public sharing. Perhaps one of the most profound shifts has been in our concept of privacy. When I was young, our lives were naturally private unless we chose to share them. Family photos stayed in albums on our shelves. Personal news was shared through conversations or maybe holiday letters once a year. Our mistakes, our embarrassing moments, our strong opinions, these were mostly known only to those closest to us. There was a boundary between our public selves and our private lives, and that boundary provided a certain safety, a space to be imperfect without judgment. James 81 tells a story about this change. When my generation argued about politics, it was around the dinner table or maybe at a local restaurant. When it was over, it was over. Now my grandchildren post their opinions online where strangers can attack them, and those arguments never seem to end. Today, sharing has become the default. Our lives are documented in photos and posts for everyone to see. Opinions are broadcast instantly. The line between public and private has faded, sometimes without us even realizing it happened. This openness has brought connection, I love seeing photos of my great-grandchildren moments after they're taken, even though they live hundreds of miles away. But it's also brought vulnerability. We're exposed in ways we never could have imagined, sometimes to people who don't have our best interests at heart. For our generation, this shift requires careful navigation. We need to embrace the benefits of sharing while protecting ourselves from its risks. We need to remember that not everything needs to be public, that there is still value in privacy, in keeping some moments just for ourselves or our closest loved ones. Change 5. From human assistance to automation. When I was younger, nearly every service involved human interaction. Bank tellers knew your name. Store clerks helped you find what you needed. Telephone operators connected your calls. These small interactions formed the fabric of daily life, creating moments of connection throughout our day. Sarah, 79, remembers this well. I used to go to the bank every Friday to deposit my paycheck. The teller, Margaret, would ask about my children by name. We weren't close friends, but those little conversations made me feel like I belonged in my community. Now we interact with machines more often than people. We deposit checks through apps, check ourselves out at stores, and navigate automated phone systems that ask us to press 1 for more options. Efficiency has replaced interaction in many parts of our lives. The convenience is undeniable. I don't miss standing in long bank lines or waiting for a store to open. But I do miss the small connections, the feeling of being recognized and acknowledged throughout my day. These brief human interactions added a richness to daily life that we didn't fully appreciate until they began disappearing. For many in our generation, this shift toward automation has been isolating. Some of my friends only speak to another human when they make a special effort to do so. Their daily tasks, shopping, banking, paying bills, no longer naturally bring them into contact with others. Yet technology has also created new forms of connection. My neighbor, David, 84, was initially resistant to his new smart speaker. Now he talks to it throughout the day, asking questions and requesting his favorite songs. It's not the same as a real person, he told me, but on days when I don't have visitors, it's nice to hear another voice in the house. Change 6. From limited information to overwhelming abundance. The final change might be the most dramatic, the explosion of information available to us. When I was growing up, information was precious and sometimes hard to find. We had a set of encyclopedias at home that my parents bought, one volume at a time. And the library was a special place where knowledge was stored. News came to us once a day through newspapers or evening broadcasts. Information was filtered, packaged, and presented by trusted sources. We didn't have to question where it came from or whether it was reliable. Thomas, 77, who taught high school for 40 years, expresses it perfectly. Research used to mean going to the library and spending hours with books and card catalogs. Hey, it was work, but the information you found had been vetted by editors and publishers. Today, my students can find 1,000,000 answers in seconds, but half of them might be completely wrong. Now we're surrounded by more information than we could process in 100 lifetimes. News updates appear on our phones throughout the day. Answers to any question are just a search away. Videos, articles, and opinions flood our screens constantly. This abundance has brought incredible opportunities for learning and discovery. I've taught myself cooking techniques through online videos and learned about places I'll never visit through virtual tours. The world's knowledge is quite literally at our fingertips. But this flood of information can also be overwhelming and confusing. How do we know what to trust? How do we separate facts from opinions, truth from manipulation? For those of us who grew up with fewer, more reliable sources, navigating today's information landscape can be exhausting. Final thoughts: finding balance in a digital world. Technology isn't good or bad. It's how we use it that matters. The smartphone that isolates us can also connect us to loved ones. The internet that overwhelms us can help us learn and grow. The secret is balance. I've found setting boundaries works best. Specific times when screens are welcome and times when they're put away. No devices during meals, conversations, or the hour before bed. These simple rules help me enjoy technology's benefits while protecting life's meaningful moments. Take a moment to ask yourself, where is technology enhancing your life, and where might it be diminishing it? What small boundaries could you create? Remember, technology should serve our lives, not the other way around. Thank you for joining me today. I'd love to hear from you. Share one technology that's improved your life or one boundary you've set. Your thoughts matter to us. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating content that inspires. I look forward to seeing you next time.